What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Parker, and we will be getting ready to start Head to Head Sports at 7:15. So we got about 9 minutes. But I just wanted to jump on real quick before we get the show started. It's going to be a full live hour. We're going to be on LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Facebook. And we'll be reviewing week 1 of the NFL. So, yes, 7:15, set your clocks for it. We'll have the countdown get started in about 3 minutes. So, just wanted to remind everybody that Head to Head Sports is going to be every week, every Wednesday at 7:15. That's our new time. We had to do that for some scheduling reasons. So, hopefully, you'll still check us out. It's going to be a good show. And also to remind you all that the show is live and that you can participate one or two ways. You can send us a shout out in the comment box, or if you have anything that you want to talk about your favorite team, how they're doing, anything you want to ask us, we'll certainly talk about it on air. Or if you'd like to come on air for a few minutes and talk about your team, you can do that too. I will send you a link to our stream, and you can actually be on here live too. How cool is that? So you can always send us a quick DM, and I will get you that link, and then you can join in for a few minutes, and we'll talk about your team and any predictions that you may even have for the season. And also to remind you guys too that Head to Head with Brian Parker, which is our weekly news show, airs on Thursdays at 6 p.m. If you would like to be on the panel, please send me a message and be more than happy to reach out to you. The more voices, the merrier. We always just talk about a range of subjects. And listen, you don't have to have a PhD in political science to join. Just have an opinion and be ready to share it. If we disagree, we disagree. But we have a good time doing it. And we'd love to have you be a part of it. If you are a person that owns a business, you have a good or service that you would like to promote, and you would like for us to put it in one of our commercials on air, please let me know, and we'll certainly do that for you as well. Reach out to me at theparkermedia@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to do that. All right, y'all. Well, listen. 5.5 minutes. I'm going to have a good show. We're going to talk about week 1 of the NFL. All the good things that happened this week, man, it was a great opening weekend in the NFL. So can't wait to go over that with you all. And yeah, just remember, we'll be back in 5 minutes. You want to be able to comment, click on that comment box. At least just say hello. Let me know you're there. But I'll see you shortly. Be right back. Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Doing dandy.
Yes, sir. We are back. Man, what a slow week in the NFL. So listen. This has been a great week in the NFL, especially for me. I'm in 2 fantasy leagues. I won them both. Rand has a water cooler where we pick games. I'm 3-0. I mean, damn, if I could get my dog to be half as reliable as all this stuff, my life would just be great. So, but other than that, I had a really good week. How about you, man?
Well, my fantasy team got drugged by about 100 points, so we won't even bring that
up. But you got like 48 points or something?
Hey, man, don't go there. Don't even call me out like that.
Oh,
good Lord, man.
Well, listen. What your fantasy team did not do, your Pittsburgh Steelers definitely did.
Hell to the yeah. They just continue to press the gas and prove all the doubters wrong. So we're going to see what happens this week. Man,
so the Steelers played the Bills. And I'm not going to lie to you. When watching that first half of that game, it was just crazy. I was like, okay, Steelers are sleepwalking. They're going to lose this game. Bills didn't look especially sharp, but it seemed like they just kind of had the momentum, and it was just going to work out that way. And the next thing you know is like a switch just flipped, and the next thing you know, the Steelers went on like a 23-7 scoring streak, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah. So, what were your initial thoughts about that game and how the defense looked, at least in the second half?
Defense is looking superb. I mean, you do that to the Buffalo Bills. You allow them a struggling 16 points in Buffalo. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
But it is important to know that you got to pay your man. TJ Watt got paid. TJ Watt almost was not on the field from what I was hearing. Thank God he made that game because he made the difference in that game.
Sure did.
Yep. That strip sack fumble recovery that we had was right on time, man. Right on time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our boy Najee Harris, he's a rookie. He got about 45 yards. That's against a stingy and tough defense. I expect a little bit better performance as time goes on, but overall, I was very pleased.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Najee. Sometimes, the rookies, Najee didn't, run especially well. Kyle Pitts had a tough go at it in his first game. Michael Carter for the Jets had a tough go in his first game. And, before folks sit there and they start, about to jump off the edge, as Aaron Rodgers said a couple of years ago when Green Bay started out losing, relax.
Relax.
That's what he told them. After Aaron Rodgers told people to relax, they went on and they went to the NFC Championship. So relax is week 1. Feel good about your team if they really if they came out with a win and did great. But if your team lost, I probably wouldn't jump off the bandwagon just yet, unless it's Jacksonville. But I mean, I saw some really, really good things. Let's jump into our home team here, the Carolina Panthers, who almost decided that they were going to let the New York Jets come back into the game and win, and almost have us again, as they've been referred to as the Cardiac Cats, have us sitting on the edge of the seat like, okay, are we going to do what we do and throw this game away at the end? They actually held on after leading 16-0 at halftime, got outscored 14-3 in the second half.
I loved how they got up on the Jets. I mean, I didn't talk a whole lot of junk about this game after they won because, people's natural instinct is going to be like, oh, it was just the Jets. So, but the thing is, look at Sam Darnold's performance. That was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
270 some yards through the air, accurate passes. Missed a couple of times. I think he missed a tight end. No, he missed Marshall in the end zone for a touchdown. We ended
Yeah,
up getting a
he
field
did
goal
miss
on that.
he did miss Ian Thomas too.
Yeah, he missed
But
Ian Thomas.
I thought Ian could have got that, but it seemed like Ian
Ian,
jumped too early.
Ian could have had that ball. Ian could have had that ball. You're right. He could have had that. But a performance like that on the first game against your former team, I was very impressed. Very impressed. Christian McCaffrey is that dude. He is that dude.
Was he out there? He only let Chuba come in for what, 2 plays?
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm still a little bit disappointed in, that they didn't get more use out of Chuba, the running back, and they have another good running back from Denver. He was in Denver last year. I'm forgetting his name, but he's a power back. We really could have used him in those short goal line situations.
It's not Philip Lindsay. Was it Royce?
Royce, yeah.
Okay.
Could have used him in those short goal line situations where we kind of failed at getting that extra yard that we needed. Ended up kicking field goals. I think one time ended up going for it, didn't make it. But yeah, those are the type of deals. I don't know if they really want to activate 3 running backs, but I mean, Royce would have done a better job than that fullback that they had out there.
But could you not see them having is it Chuba? Is that how you say his name?
Chuba.
If you had Chuba and Mac in the backfield to start pre-snap, right?
Yeah.
Then you put one of them in motion, preferably McCaffrey, and have him spread out into a slot. He got options. Now you can run a power. You can sit there and throw a quick smoke route out to McCaffrey, and all he needs is to catch that ball in space and make somebody look stupid and miss. That's all he has to do. So I think, and I know Joe Brady's a creative enough dude, but if he could sit there and try to get Chuba in there sometimes, even in a 2-back set, where then you end up turning McCaffrey into a receiver. I mean, now they can't sit there and stack the box because they have to account for McCaffrey out on that wing, but they also have to account for that running back in that backfield. And then they also have to account for DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Because I haven't really seen where their tight end. I mean, their tight end Arnold, Darnold the Arnold. That was a funny reference they kept making. Dan Arnold. He did catch 2 passes, only 6 yards, because they pretty much wrapped him up as soon as he caught the ball. He didn't really have any kind of yards after the catch or anything like that. But if they do some innovative stuff like that, I think they could open up the offense a little bit more. It kind of seems a couple of times that he checked down a lot to McCaffrey. Now, that was productive. It wasn't like that was such a bad thing. McCaffrey did run for 98 yards and received 89, so he almost caught as many yards as he received. So he is a do-it-all back. My worry is just always, I need him to be there for the 17th game of the season too. I need him to finish the way he starts, and I don't want to run him down. I don't want a whole another Cam Newton situation where we celebrating all these wins because he's that dude right now, and then later on, all the hits and stuff start catching up with him. Sometimes you got to protect McCaffrey from himself because he wants to be out there for every play, and I don't have a problem with him being out there for every play, but I don't necessarily know if I want him to actually have to touch the ball on 95% of the plays. Sometimes he could be the best decoy for the simple fact that he has to be accounted for. You have to know where he is on that field, whether he's in the backfield or whether he's out on the wing. You have to account for him. But other than that, I thought the game was pretty good. I did think it was funny. I know you hate the whole number change, but I thought it was hilarious when Shaq Thompson came out there after they've been prepping for 54 all week and he has a number 7 on. And I think that really got Zach Wilson the first couple of times because Shaq took advantage of it and started sacking him because that will throw you off. I get it. I know that's kind of crazy to see a linebacker wear a single digit number like that, but that was kind of funny.
Absolutely hate it. That's going to take a lot of getting used to.
I know it is. All right, let's talk about, man, let me move around a little bit and get your impressions on the Seattle Seahawks, who I picked to win. I mean, I picked to be third in the NFC West. Coming out, Russell Wilson heard that he getting older. His offense is what it is. He gonna have to do most of it, and sat there, put that team on his back. He started this year like he did last year. He only threw 4 touchdowns out of 254 yards, so he didn't put up a whole bunch of yards like he did last year. But he still put up 4 touchdowns, no picks, threw 2 touchdowns to his main man, Tyler Lockett. Got one to DK Metcalf, got one to Gerald Everett, who they just got over from the Rams, I believe. And he's just picking up where he left off. Russ I still don't understand how he makes those throws, but he does it. He's consistent. But I did not see them necessarily beating the Colts like they did 28-16. What do you think about that one?
Is he not the most efficient quarterback in the NFL right now?
He is.
I mean, about a game ago, I would have said Aaron Rodgers, but we'll get to that one in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. We're going to get that one soon.
So now I'm saying Russ has got him, man. Yeah. Russ is just cool, calm, collective. You go back through his track history. I don't care if he was at Wisconsin, NC State, with the Seahawks his first year. He just gets out there and plays the position efficiently. Hardly any turnovers and multiple touchdowns, be it on his arm or by using his legs. But as he goes, the Seahawks will go. The NFC West is going to be a really, really tight and interesting division this year. Didn't every one of those teams win?
All
of them.
Yeah, all of them. The whole division won.
And look good in the process.
I mean, I'm floored now. And they also, I mean, he did it through the air, but it was balanced. They did it on the ground too. Chris Carson had one of his better games, 6 carries, 91 yards. That was the big one. Russell only did 5 rushes for 9 yards. Rashard Penny 2 for 8. DJ Dallas 1 for 5. Freddie Swain 1 for 5. Eskridge 2 for 22. So Chris Carson was definitely their main guy, but I mean the rushing attack was on. Chris Carson even had 3 receptions for 26 yards, so he had all-purpose yards as well. They just looked really, really good. On the other side of the ball, though, I ain't gonna lie, Carson Wentz actually surprised me. He had an efficient day, 25 of 38, 251, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Played very clean, played very calm. He actually ran 4 times for 23 yards. So his foot must be all right. And then when you look at Jonathan Taylor, his main running back, he had 17 rushes for 56 yards. That was kind of the difference. They just really couldn't get their ground game established. But receiving, he spread the ball around. He had 8 different receivers. So that's pretty good for Carson. He's always played well under Frank Reich, and it looks like he's picked up where he left off with Frank Reich as well. So the Colts will probably be in a lot more games than not. And he's doing this without his main man, T.Y. Hilton, who is still on IR from having the neck or spine issue that he's having. But Zach Pascal, stepped up. Michael Pittman stepped up. Definitely got some other guys out there. Jack Doyle had 3 receptions for 21 yards. So Carson is getting people the ball. He's not locking in on one receiver. And he seems to be doing well post-Philadelphia.
Yeah, Wentz looks very good to me. I mean, I know it's just one game, but I mean, hell, a lot of people wasn't even expecting him to be out there, period.
Yep.
Thought he missed the first couple of weeks. But he's out there. looked sharp to me, looked good. When he does get his boy back, Hilton, I mean, the team is going to be even better. They could not get the run game going against the Seahawks, which also impressed me defensively by the Seahawks shutting down that run game like that because Taylor is no joke. Um, but no harm, no foul in the loss for the Colts. They got helped out by Tennessee losing. So they're still in the thick of things. They'll be all right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna give you this line. Tell me who this quarterback is. 21 to 33, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Who in the world could that possibly be?
Quarterback in the league, entire league.
Yeah, just had this stat this past weekend.
Oh,
21 to 33, 291, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Narrow it down for me a little bit.
He got his ribs punctured last year.
Oh, you're talking about Tyrod.
Tyrod Taylor. Come on down.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that either. Ain't that a career high?
No, he actually had a couple 300 games in Buffalo, to be honest. But that was a couple years ago, you know.
Yeah.
And that was under Scott McDermott, and you know, he's down in Houston. Of course, he's playing in place of Deshaun. I did it 22 times, Watson, and I shouldn't do that. So, but yeah, he had a pretty efficient game. Of course, they were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you know what? When your team has all that going around and everything else, who better than the Jaguars to play to get your confidence going? So that was definitely a confidence builder for him. Fresh from the Baltimore Ravens, Mark Ingram comes in, runs 26 times for 85 yards and a touchdown. Tyrod actually ran 4 times for 40 yards himself.
Yeah.
And then Philip Lindsay came in from Denver, 8 carries, 25. David Johnson, who was one of their main backs last year, along with Duke Johnson, had 3 carries for 10 yards. So very, very good day on the ground. That's over 125, 35, 160, 50 yards on the ground. So that was a pretty good balanced game. They threw 291. They ran for about 160. Very, very good. Brandon Cooks had one of them Brandon Cooks games. You know, he always can follow that up, and you have to put him on the side of a milk carton. But he had 5 carries for 132 yards, which is 26 yards a carry. So he wasn't playing. Tyrod was getting him the ball, and he was pulling out 26 yards a carry. Wow.
Yeah. You know, I pick on Tyrod. I mean, we pick on Tyrod.
Oh, yeah. We
and all that good stuff. But, you know, on a serious note, the dude is a professional. Okay. He's a professional. That's why he keeps on getting hired, because he has a very good attitude, very good leadership attitude. That's why he keeps on getting these gigs, man. And when he gets out there and he does his thing, I mean, it's not every day that he'll put up those numbers, but he's definitely a good presence in the locker room. He's definitely that person that will come into a situation and stabilize it. So right now, with all the chaos going on in Texas, he's the perfect person for that job.
Yeah, it's his leadership skills that are really good, and then the players kind of rally around him and things like that. Now, things may get a little bit harder as the season goes on and they start facing defenses that are putting a lot more pressure. But, hey, one game in, he looked awesome. On the other side of the ball, Sunshine started his first NFL game with his rookie coach Urban Meyer also at the helm, and Sunshine had a interesting day. He threw the ball 51 times. I mean, so Urban doesn't mind letting his young quarterback. A lot of times you ease your young quarterback into it. He said, "Nah, let it rip," and he did. He got 332 yards. He threw 3 touchdowns, but he did a Jameis Winston. He threw 3 interceptions. He did the same amount. Well, he did an old Jameis Winston. We'll get to that one too. And he got it to Marvin Jones, who was fresh from Detroit. He got one to Chris Manhertz. Really, Chris? You waited till you left us to start catching touchdowns? Really, Chris? I'm sure Joe Brady was like,
Chris
DJ
says it's Bridgewater's fault.
Chark. Like, wait a minute. We tried for a couple years to get you to catch touchdowns.
He said, blame Teddy.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. But yeah, it's just kind of funny watching him do that. But he actually caught 9 different receivers.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah, so he's gonna get better. The thing I like is that they're playing with house money. Nobody expects a lot out of him. So why not let him just rip? He'll learn on the fly, he'll learn on the job, as long as you keep him off the ground so that he doesn't take any unnecessary hits. The main thing with most of these rookie quarterbacks is them learning when not to play hero ball and try to it's one thing to put nice touches on the balls, nice spirals, but when you start taking chances, throwing into triple coverage, bad things are going to happen. And knowing when is it the right time to just get out of the pocket, roll out of the pocket, throw the ball to a corner where nobody is and live to play another down. Or kick the ball and play some field position and not put your defense in a terrible situation when they reverse the field off of an interception. So he will learn those things. I think he's going to be all right, though. I saw some good things from him. I saw some things he needs to clean up, but I know Urban will have him watching that film and they'll get those things. And I think they'll still have somewhat of a decent season, to be honest. Not a winning season, but they'll have a decent season.
I don't know, man. Urban Meyer, brother. Have you heard about all the stuff that's going on with Urban right now?
About them thinking he might jump ship?
Already turning players against them, already trying to take command of the offense and the defense from the defensive and the offensive coordinator. This ain't college, bro. Need to settle down. Down.
Oh, is he really?
Already. Game one is already trying to put that college hold over the whole team, and instill that harsh discipline that you would instill to a freshman. It ain't gonna work in the NFL, man. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Urban, these some grown ass men.
I'm telling you,
you can't hold scholarships over nobody's heads and stuff like that. These are professionals. They got contracts, bro, and a lot of them got contracts way nicer than yours. So, bro, this is the NFL, man.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you can do that in arena football, man. So, yeah, tread lightly, Urban. Tread lightly. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Let me see. Moving on along. Speaking of nice guys, that really surprised me. Not necessarily that they won, but how they won. Same kind of stats: 28 for 36, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That would be the one and only Mr. Theodore Bridgewater. Who we like to call Teddy. Everybody loves him a Teddy. Everybody loves a Teddy. And he just had a very efficient game for his Broncos. Now, I've been waiting to see if my man Brad was going to show up in the chat. I don't see him on yet. Where he trying to tell me about these Denver Broncos. He still trying to tell me Denver Broncos are going to come second in the AFC West, and I still don't see that happening. But I did see some really good things from them. The question wasn't their defense, which really did show up. The question was more or less, how was the quarterback going to play? You got some good receivers, but was he really going to be able to get him the ball? Jerry Jeudy caught 6 passes, 72 yards. Noah Fant, 6 passes, 62 yards. He spread it around. Teddy found 9 different receivers. That's really, really good. And some of them multiple catches. So Cortland Sutton only had 1 catch for 14 yards. That's a little weird. Javonte Williams had 1 catch, -4 yards. So Melvin Gordon, 3 catches for 17 yards. But Melvin did most of his damage on the ground with 101 yards rushing. And Teddy ran 3 times for 19 yards. Teddy, we just wanted you to do that in Carolina, bro. We just wanted you to keep the chains moving, bro. That was it. Wasn't no hard feelings. We just wanted to see you do that in Carolina. I didn't see you do that in Carolina, so I didn't really think you'd go to Denver and do anything like this. So yeah, no hard
Yeah,
feelings.
I'm gonna temper that a little bit because it was the New York Giants. If anybody had been watching this show over the past couple of weeks where we've been doing our divisional breakdowns, the common thing that I have said with both the New York teams and the Chicago teams was that the cupboards were extremely bare.
True that.
So with the New York Giants, I think they showed how bare those cupboards were. I mean, they made the Denver Bronco defense look like it was 2015 all over again.
They did.
Teddy Bridgewater, good game. I give that to him. But hey, he could do that every now and then. Every now and then he did it for us. If you remember the Kansas City game, that was one of his better games.
That is true. That is true. That's true.
But we're going to see how this plays out over the long haul. Your boy Brad, I wish he was up here so we could have a little bit of debate going on. But I will give you your props for that victory. You are 1-0. That's all that counts.
That's all that matters right now. That's true. Now, Danny Dimes, he did find 10 different receivers, which was good. Saquon Barkley was on a somewhat of a pitch count. It seems like he only carried the ball 10 times for 26 yards. I think that's all they wanted to do. He even caught a ball out of the backfield for 1 yard.
They eased him in there.
They eased him in because actually Daniel Jones ran 1 more yard than Saquon did.
Yeah,
so they definitely used the kid for his legs, but he's in the year 4 now, and they really got to see him take control of games. Even, Tom Brady had no names on his team, and I'm definitely not comparing him to Tom Brady, but a lot of times quarterbacks do a lot more with less. And a lot of times they end up naming their receivers because otherwise we go, who? And then you start hearing about them more and more and more because they start doing things on the field and you're going, oh, that dude, who was Darren Waller before he was Darren Waller. They start popping up on your radar and you're going, oh. So we got to see that from Daniel Jones, or him and Dave Gettleman may be saying adios into the sunset together.
I'm so glad that you brought that point up because you said it's year 4 for Daniel, something like that.
Yeah.
It is time for Gettleman to admit his mistake. It's time for him to admit his mistake. And I know Gettleman does not like to admit mistakes. We saw that when he was a GM here in Carolina. Had a lot of very bad draft choices, a lot of bad reaches with drafts, overreaches, letting guys go in the middle of contract negotiations that should have stayed on the squad a few more years. We got some more juice out of them. Gettleman is a strange dude, man. The reach for Daniel Jones is just another episode of that story. I mean, what has Daniel Jones produced besides turnovers in the last 4 years? He leads the league as far as all starting quarterbacks over the last 4 years in turnovers. Dude cannot hold on to the ball. If you pull up the stats, you probably see he fumbled in this game too.
He did.
I don't know how many.
He did. It's bad when the defenses know that he's good for one. Just be close enough around him and look down on the ground, and you're going to see the ball by his feet. You already know he got 1 in him, if not 2.
Are you serious? So you being serious? He fumbled.
Yeah.
I was totally guessing.
No, he fumbled. Of course he fumbled.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course he did. He always fumbles.
Yeah.
He good for it. You already know you can go ahead and count 1 fumble. I don't know if he lost it. He might have kept it. But yeah, he gonna fumble. Yeah.
No, he got them baby hands, man.
Yeah,
something
man. Somebody's hands. It's like if you blow on him, he gonna fumble that ball. You know, if you blow on him, he gonna fumble that ball. But so the Giants, as well, so 2 teams in the NFC East lost, and that would be the Giants and the Washington football team. We've got the Eagles. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 teams. The Cowgirls lost too. So the team that's winning the NFC East right now would be the one and only Philadelphia Eagles. behind some really great quarterback play from none other than Jalen Hurts, who was in his first full season as the starting quarterback. And he didn't look bad at all. Not bad at all, Jalen. Man, I can't find my doggone stats on him now. Eagles. There we go. Eagles and Falcons. Now, albeit they were playing the Falcons. So we use your word. We got to hammer it down a little bit. But again, when you have basically a first full year quarterback, you're just getting over Carson Wentz. You got a new coach, and you're trying to figure out things. Other than Jacksonville, what a nice feast. Other than them birds down in the ATL. So all he did was throw 35 times and connect on 27 of them. 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, and what? No interceptions. Nice. He ran 7 times for 62 yards, trying to do some of his best Lamar Jackson impressions. He almost ran as much as Miles Sanders, who is the back, 15 carries for 74. So he actually was a huge part of the running attack, which he will be. He's going to be able to make a lot of plays with his legs as well as with his arms. He did find 7 different receivers. Devontae Smith was his biggest one, the rookie, I believe, that they just drafted. Jalen Reagor finally broke out, 6 receptions, 49 yards. Dallas Goedert, 4 for 42. Miles Sanders, Zach Ertz, Kenneth Gainwell, they all caught passes as well. So Jalen looked really good. He really did. Didn't look like a first-year full-time starter. Played with a lot of poise, said all the right things, and I think that's just going to be a confidence booster for him. I think Philadelphia is probably going to estimate a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to have them under the radar, and they're going to surprise a lot of folks. If you're not ready, if you're not going to play your best on any given Sunday, and you play the Eagles, they might just get you.
So props to him for a great game. Props to Philadelphia for a total good team game. Yeah. Now let's flip to the other side of the ball.
Yeah, let's do that.
What in the hell was that? Is somebody going to tell them that the season started? That it's no longer preseason and this is real ball now?
Man, Matt Ryan threw the same amount of times as Jalen. He connected on 21 instead of 27. Threw only 164 yards, no touchdowns.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? That was a home game too, wasn't it?
Yes,
That's your home opener. They got one of the best weapons in the draft in Kyle Pitts, tight end Kyle Pitts, somebody that was wanted by multiple teams.
Even me.
Yeah, to expand that tight end position. Barely used the dude. I don't think he got 50 yards.
No, he got 30. He got 31. 4 catches.
Wow. Calvin Ridley. I mean,
5 catches. 51 yards.
We could be seeing the decline of Mr. Matt Ryan right before our eyes. It does not look pretty in Atlanta right now. And defensively, to give up 32 points in the home opener to Philadelphia, a team that you was favored to beat. Stinking in Atlanta right now, man. Stinking.
Yeah. You know, I only wish from a Carolina standpoint we could play them 6 times a year. Jesus.
Hell, I can't wait to play them now.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a mess down there. They're gonna get it handed to them as long as Carolina don't play like they did against the Jets. Now I have a friend of mine on the side note. She's a avid Jets fan, and of course I sent her a video the other day in my Luke Kuechly jersey. And but I talked to her the other day, and I was like, listen. The young kid, after the first half, I'm going to give him credit. He shook that off, came out and played his butt off in the second half. I told her if he played that way in the first half like he did the second half, they might have actually won that game. He's got some
Yeah.
dudes on his team that are going to be really, really good. His defense ain't no joke. That defense is actually going to get better, and they'll keep them in some games as long as he doesn't try too hard and force too many balls. So a lot of these teams that are young and are going to take some early L's, I can take those L's a lot better than watching Atlanta take these L's. Atlanta, they've just not done anything. They didn't do anything other than get Kyle. You know, they didn't really address their running game. They didn't address a lot.
Not at all.
They didn't address a whole lot of things on the offensive line. They didn't do anything. And all of that's starting to play out. I don't know if they just sleepwalking through these 17 games so they can get to the NFL draft. But if that's, but like you said, they open up at home and that's the best that they put out. Pitiful.
Terrible, man.
Pitiful.
But yeah, props to what's his name? Zach Wilson in New York. I mean, I was very impressed by that kid, man. He was under mad pressure during the first half, and then the second half, he found out how to kind of roll out of that pressure and find some guys downfield. That's very good for a rookie quarterback. And I think it's crazy that he's now in a similar situation that Sam Darnold was in when Darnold was in New York. Young quarterback under the pressure of the press, wanting wins and victories, but also got a deficient offensive line that you're going to be running for your life for 17 games. So it's just really kind of odd to see Darnold here in Carolina with a little bit of more stable situation and how accurate he was because of that situation. Carolina, for the most part, kept his jersey clean. But Wilson was kind of scrambling, running for his life, got sacked 6 times.
But did you see some of those throws? One of the long throws he threw it off of the run when he rolled to the right. He sat there. Yeah. He thought he was going out of bounds, and he ended up getting one of the DBs, got behind everybody, and he was wide open. And I'm just like, wow, he keeps his eyes downfield. That is crucial for a young quarterback. Not take an unnecessary sack, not throw the ball away. Keep your eyes downfield until the last possible minute. He was prepared to go out of bounds. The receivers also did a good thing, saw that their man was in trouble, started running his way so he had something to throw at. That is very good communication for a rookie and a receiver to be on that kind of page. Hey, when things break down and I roll, I know you break out of your route, roll back with me, and I'm going to shoot this ball. The kid has an arm. So that's what I'm saying. They're gonna surprise some people too. They may not win some games, but they're gonna scare the hell out of some people where they're gonna be like, woo, on to the next game. They're gonna make them feel like that. Speaking of which, man, my God, one quarterback that I've always underestimated because his size just worries me. I can't see him being a long-term quarterback, but he keeps doing it. And I don't know how he does it. Kyler freaking Murray. What did you do to my Tennessee Titans? What did you do?
Well, little Russ Jr., man. Little Russ Jr.
Yeah.
Another undersized quarterback. Formerly played baseball, I believe.
Yeah.
Those cats are highly intelligent. And Kyler Murray, he's showing that intelligence too.
Oh, yeah. And this is his first full year of having D-Hop with a training camp. So obviously those dudes been working on some stuff. D-Hop had 6 receptions for 83 yards. Even Christian Kirk did his normal damage, 5 for 70. Both of them had 2 touchdowns apiece.
Wow.
He threw 4 touchdowns. D-Hop caught 2, and Christian Kirk caught 2. And then Kyler ran in for another one. So he accounted for 5 touchdowns. He did throw one pick.
Was all over Tannehill.
Oh my God. I was like, what's wrong with you, Tannehill? Wake up. Oh my God. And their defense held that bad man Derrick Henry to 58 yards rushing. Kept him out of the end zone. How could you? How could you do
Chandler
that?
Jones. I talk about TJ Watt a lot because he's my dude for my Steelers. But Chandler Jones is that dude.
Oh,
man.
my gosh.
He had Tannehill running for his life the entire game. and caught him about 4 or 5 times. 5, did he have a 5-sack game?
He did. 6
That's
tackles, five sacks. He sure did.
Good God, man.
He had
That'll
5.
change your whole.
He had 5. The team had 6 total.
That'll change your whole offensive philosophy.
Yeah.
That'll change your whole offensive philosophy. One dude that dominant that you got to scheme for, and you got to keep your extra tight ends and running backs to chip them off and all that stuff, man. Look, that'll cause any offense to struggle, and we saw it from Tannehill.
Yeah,
wow.
He was very
5-sack
uncomfortable.
game,
Very uncomfortable. Yeah, I see AJ Green caught 2 passes for 25 and Rondale Moore 4 for 68. So he was spreading it around. I mean, D Hop and Christian Kirk were definitely his favorite targets by far. And yeah, he accounted for 5 touchdowns in the game. So yeah, you never had a feeling that Tennessee was ever going to mount a comeback in that game. It looked bad and it just got worse. It was almost like they were just ready for that game to just end mercilessly. So they can just move on, lick their wounds, and go on to the next opponent. But yeah, Kyler Murray keeps continuing to prove me wrong. I just always envision Johnny Manziel, RG3, those size quarterbacks. But you're right, he's doing it with his smarts. He's just he's keeping himself out of harm's way. They can't catch him for one. So when he does take off and run, I'm just waiting for somebody that's fast to come and just give him that blow. And you're wondering if he's going to get up. And it just doesn't happen.
No.
So, it just kind of surprised me.
I'm kind of through doubting that guy, man. I've doubted him for a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn my lesson. I'm going to have to learn my lesson. Okay, I got a game I know that you definitely want to get to. Because, and I cannot believe that what happened. That had to be. Now, listen. It's one thing if you beat somebody at home. When they beat you at a home that ain't even their home. When they won't let you even score a touchdown. When they take your quarterback who was the MVP last year, who threw 5 interceptions all year, and you make him cough it up twice. What in the hell? And then when you had a quarterback who 2 years removed threw 30 interceptions. He did throw about 5,000 yards, but he threw 30 interceptions to the other team. Sits behind Drew Brees for a year, competes with Taysom Hill all summer long, rightfully earns starting quarterback position. You let him go 14 of 20, which isn't a lot. But that's very efficient. He only missed 6 passes. He only threw 148 yards. He ran for another 37, but he threw 5 touchdowns and 0. I repeat, 0 interceptions. Jameis,
man,
eating a W, Winston. Come on up. Get your props. Get your flowers, dog. I'm going to give you your flowers. Because ain't no way if somebody told me that Jameis was going to do that, I would have believed it. If you had him on your fantasy team, boy, he turned it in for you. Yeah, he did. He did his thing. Jameis.
I will give Jameis his props big time. But once again, let's flip to the other side of the ball and talk about the Green Bay Packers, Mr. Jay Cutler.
He said Jay Cutler. Did Jay come out of retirement?
Jay came out of retirement and put on a Packers jersey and stood on the sidelines and smoked a cigarette and said, "I don't give a damn about what's happening out there."
Well, looking at his hairstyle now, where he looks like the old folk singer, and he did in that State Farm ad. Maybe he was just about peace and love. He looked like a little hippie out there.
Sure. Somebody said he looked like he's. Somebody looked like he was going around stealing catalytic converters.
he looked like he could have been anywhere other than on a football field. He really did, and his play looked like it too. It got so bad they brought Jordan Love in, and he had 5 or 7 for 68 yards. That was just unbelievable. Randall Cobb He sat there and lobbied to have him come in, and he caught one pass for 32 yards. And that was it. Devontae Adams by far was his best receiver, 5 receptions for 56 yards. And then everybody else, MVS, 3 receptions, 17 yards. Alan Lazard, 2 receptions, 16 yards. Tanyan, 2 receptions, 8 yards. Everybody
Ooh,
now
Mr.
naming.
Tonyan, my starting tight end got me 8 yards. Appreciate you, brother.
I mean, all these guys that I named are guys that typically are beasts when it comes to receiving. So I don't know what happened to Aaron Rodgers that day. Like, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, they, as good as New Orleans looked, Green Bay just didn't put up that much of a fight.
Yeah. I'm still trying to find and verify if Jay Cutler said this or not. I'm sorry, I meant Aaron Rodgers. No difference in them nowadays, anyways. Not till they prove me different. But I'm still trying to find this verified through another source. But I saw a pretty reputable source say or quote that Aaron Rodgers said, "Well, you drafted my replacement. Go ahead and let him play." And I was like, wow.
So there was an interview that he did with Aaron Andrews, Fox Sports, and they aired it before the game played. And in the interview, she was talking to him about his thought process going into this season. He didn't know if he was going to be back. He felt like the Packers didn't want him back. He thought he was going to be traded, is what he said. In context, he said he thought he was going to be traded. He didn't think they were going to bring him back because they had already drafted his replacement. So go ahead and let him play. He thought that that was their mentality. He wasn't saying it. He was saying that the way things were looking, it looked like that was their approach was, well, you've already drafted my replacement. You're going to go ahead and let him play. So he was more or less shocked that it worked out the way that it did, and they found a solution and brought him back, albeit it's probably his final season. And God knows if he continues to play like this, it's going to be more final sooner than later. I think he'll bounce. I think he'll bounce back, though. You know, when I look at the totality of his career, butthole or not, he's still a very elite quarterback. That just did not show up to that game. I heard that Sean Payton picked Jacksonville because it was the hardest place for Green Bay Packers to travel to.
Right. Fans.
Yeah. So whether that's true or not, hell, whether the fans traveled or not, the team should have damn traveled. They should have got there. I think they found it hard to get there too. I don't think some of them made it. Some of them might still be laid over in Hartsville, but because it didn't seem like they showed up. The effort was just terrible all the way around. But I honestly think, I mean, the good thing for the Packers is you're in the league, you're in the division with the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings. So not that all of them are going to be terrible, but you can drop 1 or 2 and you could still win the division. But you can't, let that start to become a trend, or you will lose that division. And they need that. Not only, and see, now your goal shouldn't just be to win the division so you can get in the playoffs. Your goal should be to have the number 1 seed so you get that first round bye. Because at least before you could be the 1 or 2 seed and get the bye, but now the 2 seed has to play in the wild card because they expanded to 7. So you don't even have that going for you. So unless you want to play every game to try to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl, that 1 seed is even more valuable than it used to be.
Yeah.
I'll briefly just say that the Cowboys and the Bucks played in the Monday night opener.
Turned out to be a better game than I thought it would be.
I thought it was going to be a beatdown. Last week I had on the thing, the ass whooping to be or whatever it was. It didn't end up being that. The Bucks squeaked it out, albeit on a non-passive, offensive pass interference call. Now, there was a couple of views about this, but it's funny how the rules kind of change depending on who the quarterback is, because then they start arguing was, well, did he extend? And when the defensive back is backing up at that kind of angle, it doesn't take a whole lot to make him lose his balance and push him down. So did he try to sell the fall more than he really got a hand on him? I don't know. The angle that I saw, it looked like he extended his arm and the dude fell. But I know you can make stuff look like that. I've seen the NBA. I've seen LeBron James flop more times than anything, where he'll just sit there and he'll go overboard just to try to draw the ref's attention to see if he can get a foul call. I don't know. I do hate that a game will either end on a ref's whistle. The outcome is determined by that, or it's determined by a blown call. So I'm kind of on the fence about that. But in any event, if you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, I don't believe in moral victories, but I was so down on Dak Prescott, not because he's Dak Prescott, but because he only played, 4.5 games last year. He hadn't played in almost 11 months. He didn't have a preseason. Yes, he's been practicing in camp, but there's still an element of timing that you have to have as a quarterback. And I'm like, you can't just step into a game and just start throwing daggers around the field like you haven't missed any time, like you didn't have a ankle injury and all those kind of things. And Dak said, you know what, B? Screw you. And he really did. He came out and he looked good, and then he started looking better, and then he just started looking damn great. Dak just surprised me. Now, it was funny, Rand. There was a story that came out today that I was watching Undisputed where Kellen Moore actually said that they called 28 run plays in the game, but Dak audibled out of 12 of them. So I think there was going to be a question as to why didn't Zeke run more than he did. And I guess they're getting ahead of it a little bit. He only ran 11 times for 33 yards. So they're getting out of it and saying, well, actually what happened was we called 28 run plays, but he audibled out of 12 of them and threw the ball because he's like, yeah, that was good. I'm glad he did that. That means he's getting comfortable. He's looking across the line and he's seeing the defense do something different. And he's making audibles. That is good. And if that's your line and you want to stick to it, that's fine with me. But a lot of people question why Zeke did not run more. My answer to that is Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, all those guys on that front seven is the reason he didn't run that ball.
Yeah, I probably would have checked out of that too if I had run calls on that type of defensive line.
JP Pierre-Paul, all of them dudes. Yeah, I wouldn't run it either.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Zeke looks a little, I know he got in amazing shape, but maybe too good a shape. He kind of lost a lot of weight. He looks a little thin.
He looks skinny. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we're gonna see if that weight loss translates into the power back that he was. I'm a little concerned about that, but I don't know. The Hicks keep on coming for Dallas. You chose them to win the East. I chose them to win the East. I think I did the same thing last year because on paper they have all the talent in the world, but then the season starts and just things unravel. And here we are again. They're starting to unravel. Their tackle, Lael Collins, drug suspension. He'll be out for another.
A Cowboy out for drug suspensions?
Cowboy, yes, shocking, right? And as I'm sitting here flicking through the news right now, their defensive end, their best defensive end, DeMarcus Lawrence, suffered a broken foot in practice. He will miss multiple weeks.
D-Law is out too?
Out multiple weeks. So those are, and Michael Gallup too. Michael Gallup's
Gallup's out. He's out at least 8 weeks, right?
Yep. So it's just amazing to me how the Cowboys have such a talented roster on paper, but then the season starts, and like I said, things just quickly just unravel, go down.
Wow. I got my man CJ Jones on watching us. He's a Dallas Cowboy fan, and he said it was good not for Zeke to run. And he just said, now I guess he just heard what he said, and he says, explicative. That's a wrap. Because CJ, it's only one game, bro. It's only one game. You know, NFL is about as the league that says next man up. You got to be ready. So this is an opportunity for somebody else to step up and say DeMarcus who, Michael who. Now I will be honest, CeeDee Lamb, after he kind of dropped a pass or two, redeemed himself. He looked pretty good when CeeDee catches that ball in open space. Man, he is a dynamic runner. He really is. Amari, oh my gosh, when Amari's not, when Amari plays at home, he normally looks good, but he actually brought his game away. He had 13 receptions for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was that dude from the Raiders. That was Amari from the Raiders. He was doing his thing. I'm like, wow. Now, that's the Amari that I knew. CD caught 7 passes for 104. He had a touchdown. Dak, let me just go back to Dak, though. He was out of commission for 11 months. He did not have a preseason. He not only threw the ball efficiently, he threw it damn near 60 times. He threw 58 balls and hit 42 of them for 400 yards. Now, normally when Dak throws for 400 yards, it's because he's trying to come from behind. They're down 3 or 4 touchdowns, and he's coming from behind. He threw that touchdown. He threw 3 touchdowns. He had a pick. I don't really put that pick on him. I think his player gave up on the ball. But he played a hell of a game. You know, I'm not about moral victories. Dak is back. Yes, well, Dak is back. Dak proved to me when I saw him play that game, the only thing I could think about is shame on you, Jerry Jones. You should have been paid that man. Shame on you. Because if not watching Ben DiNucci was enough for you to see why you should have paid that man, Dak showed you in the first game that he is back. I thought he was going to need 2-3 games to kind of work his way back in the game shape, speed of the game, and everything else. He picked up the defenses. He found his receivers. He was going through his progressions. He act like he didn't miss any time at all. No. He act like he was in like game 10 form in game 1. I mean, you got quarterbacks that won't play like that in game 10. He was doing it off the bat. And trust me, as somebody that is definitely not a Cowboys fan, I am not going to sit there and not give that man his flowers. He was doing his thing. Dak, you proved me wrong, man. I'm big enough to say you proved me wrong.
I mean, there's certain quarterbacks that they go down and, you know, you just move on to the next guy. And of course, this is a fall off, but it's not a tremendous drop off. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield goes down, you're going to get the backup. It's a fall off. It's not a tremendous fall off. Fitzmagic went down for Washington. Next man up is, what's his name? It used to be
Tyler Heinicke.
So it's a drop off, but not a tremendous fall off. When Dak goes down, so goes down the whole offensive team because the next man up is a tremendous fall off. Same as Pittsburgh. Big Ben goes down, it's a wrap. Brady goes down, it's a wrap. Dak is that dude. He is that dude. A lot of people were kind of concerned about the quote unquote shoulder injury or the shoulder being
what shoulder injury?
What shoulder? I never bought into that, man. They were just being careful with him. And he showed that on for the world to see last Thursday night.
He looked so good. He looked so good. Okay, that's my love for the Cowboys. I'm sorry, not for the Cowboys, for Dak Prescott. If I do any more, y'all, I'm gonna probably have to get a pail or something over here on the side. Rand, I don't know if you saw, but I need every Monday night to be like the one that I just saw.
Prime time, baby.
If that was not a game. Everybody hates losing, but I actually took this one pretty well. We need a kicker. Yeah, you do. The Ravens and the Raiders. Oh, that's my freaking God. What? I watched all of that game. And early on, I'm not going to lie, Derek Carr was flat. He was a little bit off. He was throwing behind his receivers. He targeted Darren Waller 19 times. His tight end. And a side note, it's just funny because in my fantasy league that I have with you, I have Derek Carr as my starting quarterback and Darren Waller as my tight end. And whoever I was playing, I was down by 16 points. And I remember looking up saying to my wife, I'm like, I need Derek Carr to pass his ball to Darren Waller so I can win this week. And no sooner than I said that, Derek Carr passes to Darren Waller. Darren Waller spins around, reaches over, and scores a touchdown. And I'm just like, yeah. So, needless to say, that is the reason that I won. But that was just a game for the ages. Lamar Jackson did what Lamar Jackson does. Lamar flat out said in the preseason, I don't think they can figure me out. And I don't think they have, Lamar. I mean, the thing is he's in year 4, so he's looking for that extension. He's his own agent. He hasn't had his shot. So there's a lot of things up in the air about Lamar, but he ran 12 times for 86 yards. That's 7 yards a carry for your quarterback. That's the exact same number that Tyson Williams had, 7.2 yard average. He actually outran Tyson. He outran Latavius Murray. And then Trenton Cannon and Marquise Brown. So nobody had more rushing yards than Lamar. He threw 235 yards, 1 touchdown. I believe he lost 3 fumbles.
Yeah, that's another quarterback with a fumble issue. Yeah.
That's what kept him in the game, because when they started to come back, when the Raiders, because the Ravens defense was just causing Derek Carr all kinds of problems. Every now and then they got over aggressive, and he would go over them and find his receiver was named Brian Edwards. And Hunter Renfrow had a good game. Darren Waller had 10 receptions for 105. But Edwards caught, the best passes of the game. Right across the middle, 34 seconds left. Got to sit there and kick a field goal. No timeouts. They get down there, get in the field goal range, kick a 54-yard field goal, tie the game up, go into overtime. They drive down. It looks like the guy gets in. I'm celebrating. Everybody's going crazy. And they're like, hold up. He's a yard short. And I'm like, no. Then they sit there and they try to punch it in. The lineman sits there and false starts. And then now they back him up. Now he has to try to throw the ball into the end zone. It bounces off of Willie Snead's hand. And then the Ravens come down with it. They're driving the other way. They look like they're about to go kick a field goal. Then all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson fumbles. They get the ball back. They run a couple of plays, and they get in the field goal range. And then Gruden brings out the field goal team on second down, because it looks like, hey, we just saw what happened to Lamar. I don't want to take no chances. Let's kick this thing and take it to the house. Well, they were home already. But then they get another flag, and it backs them up. And he's like, oh, man, that's too long of a field goal. Brings the offense back out. And the conventional thought was they were just going to try to run it or a short pass just to get back the negative yards they just incurred. Everybody on the field had that thinking, except for Derek Carr and Brian Edwards. So then Carr backs up and gets behind that defensive back. He's flat-footed, and he just throws it up there, and dude just walks right into the end zone. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable game. The poise Derek Carr showed in that game was amazing. He threw for 435 yards. That was unbelievable. I don't know what else to say. That was just, man, it took me a while to go to bed. I was so hyped on that game. That game was beautiful.
Shout out to my man Zay from ECU, caught the game-winning touchdown pass.
Zay Jones.
Yep, Zay Jones. But yeah, man, Derek Carr is becoming that dude himself. I mean, he spent his whole career with the Raiders, so I don't know how you will really measure that as far as playoff appearances and stuff like that, because they don't really have that much. But I think this is a free agent year coming for him. I don't think he's signed a long-term extension.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting to see who he goes to, or if he re-ups in Vegas for additional years. There's kind of a 50-50 thing going on there where Vegas really ain't wanting him for whatever reason. But I've always felt that he's a good quarterback, and I will gladly take him in Pittsburgh to be Big Ben's successor.
I'll gladly take him in Carolina.
I'm telling you. He doesn't get enough credit for the things that he does, and we saw that in
Brad,
for the world to see.
Oh Lord, my main man Brad is actually watching now. So before I forget, let me give props to his. He's not a Denver Broncos fan per se. He just thinks they're going to do well. His team is actually the LA Rams, and let me just go ahead and say, it seems like Matthew Stafford. Hey now, it seems like Matthew Stafford may have been that missing piece, because he just sat there and was throwing bombs all over the place. I was going to call him Iraq. He was throwing so many bombs all over the place, man. I thought I was in the Middle East. Boom, boom, boom. Long balls. Darrell Henderson, 6 catches, 70 yards. He was just, I'm sorry, he rushed for that. Cooper Kupp, 108 yards catching. Tyler Higbee, 68 yards. Van Jefferson, 80 yards. Robert Woods, 27, 3 receptions. Deshaun Jackson back on the field, 2 receptions, 21 yards. He was slinging it around. Stafford looked really good. My brother says I'm triggered. Oh, because I said bang, bang. My brother's watching. And are you in Spain now? I know he's overseas, flying for the guard. But so, yeah, we got international watchers.
All right.
How about that? Brad, we'd already talked about Teddy Bridgewater. He looked pretty damn good. I gave Teddy his props. I want to see if he can continue that. I'll go back to the Rams in a second, but what we had said is that, we knew the defense would be good, even though they did play the Giants. So we do have to keep that in context. They're playing against Daniel Dime. So let's see how they continue to go. But I think they're going to be good though. It depends on how Teddy plays, though. He had a couple good rushes. He had a couple good throws. He didn't throw any picks. So I'm glad to see that. He really did manage the game very well. Teddy's known as a game manager. You just don't want him to lose the game for you by taking unnecessary sacks. Teddy's not one that's going to throw a bunch of interceptions, but he does have a lot of untimely sacks where he sits there and he gets them happy feet in the pocket. And because he doesn't trust himself to run like he should, sometimes he'll run out of time. That clock isn't ticking like it should, and he'll take a 9-yard loss for a sack, and he'll either bring up 4th down or you got to kick a long field goal or something like that. So as long as he's not losing the game for you, you can stay in games as long as your defense keeps the other team from making it a shootout. If that game with the Giants had been a shootout, I don't know if they could have kept up with him. He didn't get tested that way. So we'll see. Back to your Rams, though. Matt Stafford had a decent game, but on the other side of the field, Mr. Aaron Donald was causing a whole lot of hell for Andy Dalton. Now, he did throw 38 times. He did throw 206 yards. He did not throw a touchdown. He had 1 interception. He was 27 out of 38. He was efficient, but he just could not punch it into the end zone. They rushed both of those. One was Justin Fields, a 3-yard run. The other one was on David Montgomery's carry as well. So, can Andy hold on? Is there going to be more and more calls for Fields? Fields did come out. He threw 2 passes. He completed them both for 10 yards. I like what they're trying to do. They're trying to sprinkle him in a little bit here and a little bit there. But it reminds me a lot of Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, where over time, everybody wanted to see a little bit more and more Lamar. So they just kept throwing him out there in different situations. San Francisco did the exact same thing with Trey Lance. Did you see that, Rand, where they sat there and Garoppolo sat there and they put him on the wing? They put Trey Lance in the backfield and he did his thing. So they're doing that without handing over the whole offense to the guy. They're putting him in situation. Yeah, Fields' time is coming soon. I totally agree with you. I think it's going to be soon later. You know, Andy didn't play a bad game. He just played against a defense that is for real. If Justin Fields had been back there, I don't think he would have fared that much better, to be honest with you, because that defense from the Rams is just that good. He may have been able to extend some plays with his legs and things like that, but only time will tell how much longer they're going to give Andy Dalton. Jimmy Graham, side note, I believe caught his 700 catch as a tight end. You know, that's up there as well. So that was good to see him be able to do that. But it was his only catch of the game. They're using him less and less. But yeah, so the Rams and the Bears, what'd you think about that one, Rand?
Rams, I thought were going to take a deep dive into the playoffs anyway. We talked about that on our preview show. The
Yeah.
Rams are going to be there. I thought Chicago would struggle with their lack of receivers, and that definitely showed. And it's got to be tough for Dalton to play knowing that he has somebody breathing on the back of his neck that's going to get this start at some point sooner than later this season. Backing up to your Broncos, Brad, if you're still on, after watching what the Chargers did, watching what the Raiders did, and watching what the Chiefs did, I don't change my standpoint, my dude. Congratulations on your win, but you better enjoy it because there won't be a whole lot of them. Your man, Jerry Judy's out for a couple of weeks too.
Yes, he is.
Kind of that worse. So there you have it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on real quick. I know we only got about 3 minutes. So, Randy, you have a particular game next week that you're going to be looking forward to?
Oh, man, most definitely. It's a game of the week for me. Even though I'm a Steelers fan, I'm definitely going to want to see what they do in Vegas or against Vegas. My game of the week is going to be Panthers versus Saints. I want to see what the Panthers were all about. Was that victory against the Jets because of the Jets? Or can they really go out there and play that hell of a defense against a good squad, a good offensive squad in New Orleans? Jameis, you didn't have any turnovers last week. Therefore, you owe me 5 turnovers this week.
Yeah,
So
Jeremy Chin looking for you.
Yeah,
Shaq Thompson is looking for you.
Yeah, you do, homie. You do.
You are due. Well, and see, that's the thing with Jameis. Is he going to balance out the fact that he didn't have any this past game and going to throw us about 4 or 5 of them?
Yes.
I got like 2 games of the week, 3 games of the week. Raiders Steelers, definitely going to be a heck of a game. This is going to be a lovely AFC battle. Surprisingly, I'm going to go with the Pats and the Jets. And the reason is because it's going to be 2 rookie quarterbacks. We're going to see if Bill Belichick and Robert Saleh are going to sit there. And I know Jameis does look good. We're going to see if Robert Saleh, Bill Belichick, how that works out. They're going to be playing in New York. Mac Jones, who? not Mike Jones. But Mac Jones is going to be playing. You're going to have Zach Wilson, both rookies, seeing how they utilize their weapons. Mac has some good weapons. Hunter Henry hopefully is going to catch more passes this game. Zach has a week under his belt now where he played pretty well in the second half. So that should be a good game to watch. Also, I want to see what happens with the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Chiefs go to Baltimore. That is going to be interesting. Those defenses going against each other, will they negate each other? Will Patrick Mahomes still get the best of Lamar? Will Lamar sit there and run all over that field? You know, what's going to happen in that game? Finally, I also want to see, are the Titans going to rebound? They've got to travel out to Seattle and face that bad man, Russell Wilson, who only threw 4 touchdowns, all them yards, no interceptions, trying to start off the MVP conversation all over again. All right, y'all. That's our time. Glad you watched. Remember, we've moved 7:15 on Wednesdays. Remember, our main show, Head to Head with Brian Parker, is going to be on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Hope you can join us as always. If you want to join the show, talk about your team, we will bring you on the air for a few minutes. Talk about your team. You got any questions for us? Let it rip. You got don't agree with something that we said? Let it rip too. We like the engagement. I love the comments. You guys have been sending comments. I appreciate your feedback and everything. Rand, you got anything going out?
Nah, stick around for week 2. Week 2 is going to be a blast.
It is. It is going to be a blast, y'all. Thanks for watching, and we will definitely see y'all next week. Y'all take care.